Eddie, it'll be all right. Pull yourself together.
I suggest nobody else goes down there. We should keep the room intact until the police can get here.
I shall alert them first thing in the morning. What an unfortunate accident.
An accident? You think so? Just after the madman's son turned up at our door.
And yet you were the one standing over her body with blood on your hands.
How dare you? I was too late. I was trying to help her. She...
There, my sweet boy. Let's get you to bed. Angus, would you?
Of course, ma'am.
I think we will all benefit from a good night's sleep.
I know you may have no reason to, but I need you to trust me. I'm the only one on your side when it comes to your father's death.
Lady Margaret certainly isn't. But if I told you what I saw in the chapel, you'd have me in a padded cell, just like my father. Why did you come here? To make sure my father was successfully in the ground?
With all due respect, Mr. Gordon, I will not allow you to speak to me or about my work in such a tone. I tried everything I could to aid your father. Your father was heavily drugged when he was brought to me, to prevent any further violent outburst, or so Lady Margaret had said. But something felt wrong, even then.
So, what was my father like when you locked him up?
I didn't just lock him up. I tried to help him. He was convinced he was carrying some ancient curse, that he was being haunted by evil. I wish I had reached him, had been able to reach him.
Maybe if I threw you a bone, you'd get off my back. Father was obsessed with the history of the family for as long as I can remember.
Did your father actually believe his family was out to get him?
Who knows? I think what scared him was beyond the physical. He used to babble about a dark force threatening him and our family.
Was that why he moved you to India? To get as far away as possible?
I believe so.
And yet, here you are, in the very place he sought to protect you from.
Who knows? Maybe there is an ancient evil in this place. An evil that drags us back no matter how far away we get. Even from the other side of the world.
And what do you think? Was your father right? Are there things beyond the physical?
I have other things to worry about right now. Things like a drowning woman floating in thin air. If you really want to help me, I need to find out what the maid knew. What Lady Margaret and Angus didn't want her to tell me.
You believe it got her killed?
Maybe. What I saw in the chapel, it has to be real. She must have drowned herself down at the loch. Because if it's all in my mind, like father, like son.
We need to examine the maid's body in the cellar.
To find out who killed her?
To be sure she was murdered before we start pointing fingers.
What is it? I'll get you back.
Stop monkeying around. Come with me.
I'll come inside in a bit.
Don't go.
Can I just have a few
It's
more
not a request, Carol.
Don't worry. I'll be fine.
What's happening to me?
David? Is everything all right?
We should make haste.
We need to examine the maid's body in the cellar.
To find out who killed her?
To be sure she was murdered before we start pointing fingers.
Rory's not one for cleaning up after himself. Rory's not one for cleaning up after himself. I guess we'll have the key. Unless we can find another way in. I guess we'll have the key. Unless we can find another way in. Nobody in this house is particularly chatty, not even when I have an actual question for them. Maybe once I found out what really happened to Father here, I can finally talk to my family and staff about some lighter topics.
Oh, stunning. How curious. Come and look at this. Look, they form a clear circle.
This can't be a fluke.
Well, looks like one of the stones is missing.
A heavy enough stone to weigh yourself down with. I've never seen a rose like this before.
I have. The gardener, Rory. He brought some down from the glass house.
Something's carved into each one.
We need to examine the maid's body in the cellar.
To find out who killed her.
To be sure she was murdered before we start pointing fingers.
I have to thank you again for coming to my aid in there.
I'm glad I found you in time. Thankfully, Mr. Harrison had made an educated guess as to your whereabouts.
I think I might have an idea how to get into the cellar, but I'm not sure you'll like it.
If it involves this filthy dumbwaiter, don't even think about it.
True, that wouldn't be very ladylike.
You might want to consider what I do for a living before trying to taunt me this cheaply.
You said you'd help me, so help me.
On my terms.
I can't fit in there, and I see no other way into the cellar.
You're asking me to put a lot of trust in you, given the circumstances.
I'm not crazy like my father, if that's what you think.
I don't think anything yet, because I don't know you.
You can trust me, and I will do my very best to learn to trust you.
All right then. Clothes can be washed. Lovely. Pull me back up! I need something to open the doors from the inside once I'm down there.
Rory's not one for cleaning up after himself. This should do it.
Going down?
Good luck.
See you in a minute.
Dr. Farber. Is everything all right? Leah! Oh, if anything's happened to her.
You needn't worry about me. I've been to stranger places than this castle. Follow me.
They seem to be a house full of carnivores.
What a horrific way to die. What a horrific way to die.
Her neck's been broken, and with some considerable force, it seems. Her necklace looks like gold, albeit a plain design, and it's missing any form of pendant.
Still, well beyond a maid's salary. It...
Where's that
Your
sudden draft
stag
come
is
from?
here, my little doe.
Little doe. Not exactly the usual way to address the staff. They seem to be a house full of carnivores.
What a horrific way to die.
Her neck's been broken, and with some considerable force, it seems. Her necklace looks like gold, albeit a plain design, and it's missing any form of pendant.
Still, well beyond a maid's salary. It...
Where's that sudden draft coming from?
Her clothes. He ripped a seam open. They seem to be a house full of carnivores.
What a horrific way to die.
Her neck's been broken, and with some considerable force, it seems. Her necklace looks like gold, albeit a plain design, and it's missing any form of pendant.
Still, well beyond a maid's salary. It...
Where's that
Your
sudden draft coming
stag is
from?
here, my little doe.
Little doe. Not exactly the usual way to address the staff. Her clothes. He ripped a seam open. The missing pendant. He threw it into the blood-filled basin.
We're all here, sir. All down in the dark. Something's coming. The attic, sir. She's in the attic.
What just happened? You look like you were in some kind of trance.
Perhaps the lack of sleep is affecting me. Or the visions that you'd think me insane if I described them to you.
You need to learn to trust me. I am on your side, remember?
So you say, but I remember you locked my father up too. A tiger can't change its stripes.
Ugh, that's horrible.
You're not the one with your hand in it. French. I don't speak French.
I do. It says for Clara, forever yours. Who's Clara?
I don't know. Yet another relative, perhaps?
We should ask someone who's been around here for longer. How did you know it was there? The pendant, I mean.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. A hunch. Eddie gave this to her. We should ask him to his face just what his relationship was with her.
This isn't another ghost story, is it?
Look, you wouldn't understand. I can't...
What I do understand is that we cannot accuse a man of murder without proof.
The scene really did rip when she tried to get away from him. The maid could never have afforded this. This is a trinket of the rich, not a servant. The maid could never have afforded this. This is a trinket of the rich, not a servant.
If you'd just like to wait out here, sir.
I need to speak with Eddie.
The young master and her ladyship are otherwise detained.
Fair enough. If Eddie really gave her that pendant, he might be her killer, and I might not be losing my mind. There's no doubt about his loyalty, nor with whom it lies. If Eddie really gave her that pendant, he might be her killer, and I might not be losing my mind. Mr. McKinnon, who is Clara?
The lady, Clara, young Eddie's late mother. A box with some of her belongings are kept in the library, as Master Eddie feels himself more a Gordon than a Mallory.
Nobody in this house is particularly chatty, not even when I have an actual question for them. There's no doubt about his loyalty, nor with whom it lies. If Eddie really gave her that pendant, he might be her killer, and I might not be losing my mind. Clara seems to be the name of Eddie's mother.
It's hardly an uncommon name. We need more proof for a grave accusation like this.
The belongings of Eddie's mother. Recognize that?
The necklace. Is that...
A young Eddie and his mother Clara.
Thank you for your last letter. My heart soars with every word of yours I read. I touch the ink and imagine your fingers are just inches from mine, that we can almost touch, that I can almost feel the warmth of your skin once more. Young Edward grows more like his father each day. You'd be amazed how he shares your looks. I long for the day that this terrible war is ended and you return home to us, so we can be a family once more. I shall write to you again soon. Know that until then you are always in our hearts. Your loving wife, Clara.
The date. She was writing this when the death notice arrived. Oh, the poor woman.
I regret to inform you that your husband, Corporal Victor Mallory, number 874511, was killed in action with the enemy on the day of the 14th of September in Ypres. Your husband was involved in an advance against enemy lines. While he and his fellow soldiers fell, the action was successful, and you can take comfort in knowing his sacrifice saved many lives. It was not possible to get his remains away, and he was buried in a soldier's grave. Please accept the condolences of all the company. Yours, Captain Arthur Jones, 4th Army.
You see? The necklace was his mother's. He gave it to the maid. The maid!
You're right. We need to speak to him about this. But how could you know this? I can't help you if you don't tell me.
Cousin Eddie might be a murderer. How I draw my conclusions can wait for now. There's no doubt about his loyalty, nor with whom it lies. Eddie, I need to ask you about the maid. About Ailsa.
You didn't know her!
I know that you and her were... That is to say, I know you had feelings for her.
What? That's poppycock! You're as deranged as your father was!
David, really? You go too far with this behavior.
The police will be here soon. Would you not prefer to clear this up before they get here in case they link Eddie with the crime?
Now look here, young lady. How dare you speak?
That's enough. Eddie. My little doe. Strange thing to call the help.
How? It was just harmless fun, that's all.
Her clothing was ripped, as if someone was trying to force themselves upon her.
I would never have hurt her.
You gave her this. It was your mother's.
I did. It was.
Eddie!
I was just trying to cheer her up. She has nothing, and I had no need of it. You know she sends... You know she sent most of her money home to her grandmother.
You're a worthless liar. You think she thought being pressed against a dead animal was harmless fun?
How do you know? It's true. Ailsa and I would never have laid a finger on her. We were in love. I helped her with everything, even with her chores. Rose and...
That's quite enough. Eddie, you are obviously upset. And you are not helping, David. Angus, will you please take the young master upstairs?
As you say, Mom.
I think you have caused quite enough disruption here. We shall settle this heritage dilemma first thing tomorrow.
I don't think so. I have more questions now than ever. About my father, the maid, this whole damn house.
Have a care, David. Need I remind you of your father's temper?
I would never.
Given the current mental state of Master Eddie, who should be a part of the heritage considerations, any discussion on the topic would be futile at this point. Would you not agree?
Thank you, Leah. Maybe it's a good thing you're here after all.
Impudent brats!
What's going on?
Did you notice when Margaret got angry?
When Eddie mentioned... What was it? Chores involving a rose. What does that mean?
Something about the garden, perhaps? We could ask Rory. Or is it about the attic? Oh, I wonder. Whatever it is, it's something she doesn't want us to know.
The attic?
I saw the maid coming down the stairs with a tray. But there's nothing up there but an empty room.
Interesting.